Right, so this is this is the ingest schedule application. So this is a module of IP Director which the ingest area use. This is a typical 2-day view, just to sort of show the some of the quantities of material that's ingested. So the first 16 channels that Sky have of ingest are sort of ad hoc. Whenever a channel is free, if something needs recording, whatever channel is free at the time, a decision will be made to record it on that channel. So of those first 16, you can see the first sort of 12 can be quite sporadic, and there can be lots on the same channel, and there can be suddenly big gaps and so on. But there's still a lot of media ingested. What we can also do is on the latter feeds, for example, it's things like the rolling feeds, like the APTN and the Reuters feeds that come through. We want to save those as half-hour sections that they come in as, or 1-hour sections as they come in as. Obviously, we don't want the operator to have to schedule those every single day. So what we do is we have the option to make a repeat function. So they make one job, press repeat, and it just repeats for as many days as they need to. And what's happening in the background is as that job is being ingested and is scheduled, so the APTN feeds are scheduled for maybe a week in advance, and they just leave it. There's nothing else to do. The jobs are waiting to come in for them.
And the other things we do here is we do clean feed recording, so we either record a clean or a dirty feed of our output that once our other sites are operational, we'll then every hour publish the last hour to all these other locations for disaster recovery. So if our main site were to go down, we could always refer to the previous hour from Millbank and play that to air should the need arise. This is the IP Director application, which sits in front of 200 journalists within our newsroom. So it's a cut-down version of IP Director, Alex?
Yeah, IP Director's actually got a very flexible interface, but what we tried to do with the journalists was just give them the tools that they needed in front of them, and in a way, not restrict them, but in a way just give them the bare minimum for what they needed. So they needed to be able to browse the database, which is the window in the bottom left-hand corner. This is all of the assets on the system. So we can see icons of where that file resides. Obviously, a journalist doesn't really matter as long as they can find what they're looking for. But we can then play them out. We have the video display, and in the top right corner we have the playlist panel. This is where we can either make sub-clips of media that's in the system, or we can simply drag whole assets into that, make a playlist, maybe reorder them, maybe trim the assets. I think it's fair to say, very basic editing. Often the limits of a journalist's abilities in some cases, it's fair to say. Just mark in, mark out, add some clips to a playlist. From there, if it's really urgent, we can push that straight on to the playout server. All the journalists have the ability to send straight to playout. Or we can push an EDL as an open file, which is instant. It's just an XML to Final Cut Pro or to Clean Edit that says, here's all of this media. Here's a pre-cut of the edit, and it means that the editors are spending less time searching for media, and most of the work is done for them.
So I guess the next thing we can talk about is the plugin that's been written for Final Cut Studio. So it's all based on the name of your sequence. So you highlight the sequence that you wish to export, file, export, EVS have written a plugin, export to EVS, and then you can pick a number of profiles. So in the middle here, so it's fiber. And that determines, does it just get published to the SAN, does it just get published to the archive, or does it get published to all 4 locations, SAN, playout main, playout backup, archive, whatever you want. And in the future we'll be able to publish to different geographical locations at the same time, and that just triggers off a whole heap of events underlying an XT access.
It's quite nice. It's based on edit suites. So for example in the terrestrial Channel 5 edit suites, they only see their playout servers, so really they can't make a mistake and publish to the wrong place. We can limit it. Sky have a few more options. They might be able to publish to their web service, to their web playout. They might be able to publish back to the SAN, all sorts of different things, make different formats of it. But we can actually choose, right, this edit suite only needs to publish in that place.
So, and you can see down here, so the application, it's still exporting the final product, the video and audio file as is standard with Final Cut, and this is the traffic light system that you can't actually see the traffic lights at the moment. These dots here go a different colour indicating the progress. So if it's red, it means it's not ready for play out. As soon as it goes amber, it means you could start to play it out, but it's still to be completed. And when it's green, it means that the job's done. And that just means it's sending to different XT machines. One of them is the SAN, and that's XT1 and XT2, which are the playout devices. So, and it just shows you the time taken. And generally, as a rule, we work in DVC Pro HD 100 megabit format. It takes about half real time.
Twice real time.
Twice real time a minute package takes 30 seconds to publish, and you can start playing that out 10 seconds as soon as you've started your export. And we use that feature every day. The iNews plugin.
Yeah, so the iNews plugin, for those sort of familiar with iNews, obviously we've got a rundown on the left-hand side of iNews. As the users make slugs within iNews, they'll put all the information in. They'll add the script information, the graphics information. What we've got on the right-hand side is our plugin. So this is monitoring. In this instance, it's just looking at the playout server. We only want to add to the rundown something that's on the playout server. Obviously, different users might have different access rights. But in this case, as soon as a file hits the playout server, again, it appears instantly as soon as the first few frames hit. So even if it's not finished rendering from Final Cut, it'll appear in the iNews plugin. As soon as that happens, it's just a drag and drop. You simply drag from the application over the slug, and that's the association done. The iNews MOS gateway will communicate with the EVS MOS gateway, and it will appear in the playlist for the operator.
So, and that's the next screen here. This is the ABCD playlist, which is yet another version or another module within IP Director that talks to the MOS gateway and allows sequential play out of all the items in the rundown as they appear according to iNews.